Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Riley K. Jones. I'm a writer, teacher, and author tuber, and today we are going to talk about books. So it has been a hot minute. First off, I just want to apologize for just kind of ghosting the internet for a while. It was definitely not intentional and definitely something that I just need to take a break from because of school. Many of you guys know that I'm also a teacher full-time, and May this year just happened to be one of those months that was just like, here's this thing and here's that thing and you have to do this thing, and it was insane. I had to take my 8th graders to DC, which was a lot of fun, but also required a lot of planning. You'll be able to see that a little bit in a vlog coming up soon, but it was definitely insane last month of school. I was even barely able to work on writing projects, though I was able to query a lot, and I got to read a lot again. So if you saw my last reading update for April, I talked about Libby and the audiobooks, and that's really what got through all of the books that I read this month was because of audiobooks. And I took a lot of walks, and while just running and doing errands, I got to listen to the books, which helped my reading goal boost up. So I read 8 books in May, which is insane. Now, the books that I did read were a little bit shorter of like the books I typically read, so I was able to fly through those a bit faster. I listened to 7 of them as audiobooks and then read the last one. So that is kind of like how I got through reading this many books. Also, really fun thing. So in 2022, I made a goal to read 22 books in 2022, and I have read 26 books in 2022. I can't believe it. And it really was because of audiobooks really helped me to push through some. And there were a couple new discoveries this year. As you've already heard about, a couple new discoveries that just I devoured. So technically I can be like, I'm done with my reading goal. I can just kick it back easy, but I'm not going to do that. I may go a little bit easier though and try to read only a book a month or something like of that nature, just because I met my goal. But I still want to keep reading. So anyway, but let's jump into the books that I read this May. So the first set of books that I read was a series, and it was the Chronicles of Narnia series. And I had read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe when I was in, I think, middle school, and I really liked it. It was something really fun. It was cute. And it was also around the time when the latest movie produced by Disney, when that came out, was when I read the book. And then after that, I kind of just stopped. I was like, I'm cool, I'm good. I like reading about my murder mysteries and witchy stuff because that's what I was into in middle school. So I was reading all that, and I was just like, even though like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe has magic in it, I just wasn't like drawn to it as much as I was drawn to some other more mystery, spies, Ally Carter, like that type of vibe than the Chronicles of Narnia. But it's always been on my to be read list. And then in college I read The Magician's Nephew, which I really liked. There's a song based off of The Magician's Nephew by one of my favorite bands called the Great Havens. Check them out, they are awesome. So I really liked that book. And then I reread The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and then I got to The Horse and His Boy, and I just kind of stopped. Now this was like about 5 years ago. I think it was about 5 years ago, yeah, maybe 7 years ago. I'm getting older. And then I just like could not get into The Horse and His Boy, and I was just like, I want to read the Chronicles of Narnia, but I just was not a vibe. I was just not vibing with The Horse and His Boy. And so when I saw it was on audiobook and a coworker was like, hey, I'm re-listening to them, I was like, perfect. Why don't I just listen to them? So I listened to the whole series. Again, Magician's Nephew, great. This one is definitely my favorite. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is just classic. it's just perfect. Like, I just love it. And then again, Horace and His Boy, not a big favorite. Like, I had to really push through this one. I was just not vibing to it. I just did not like it. It felt very out of place. I didn't understand. I just did not like it. And then we get Prince Caspian, much better. I did like Prince Caspian more as a sequel than Horace and His Boy. I just was not vibing with Horace and His Boy. This is much better. Then Voyage of the Dawn Treader got a lot better. I think it's because you have, you know, characters that you already kind of got attached to with Prince Caspian, and you're going out on a seafaring adventure. So it did have a really like dull moment towards the end. Like, it just kind of was like, okay, what next? So not as good as the first one, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Not as good as that, but still very fun. I loved Eustace. Eustace as a character is just so awesome because like you really hate him, but then he has this great character growth. So like Eustace a lot. And then this one, the Silver Chair, I think was his better written stories with like a beginning, middle, end like that. The whole flow was a lot better. This one is following Eustace and a girl from his school named Jill, and I liked it. It had a little bit more mystery. I had a little bit more vibe to it, but it still wasn't as good as The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, but it was definitely better than I thought it would be. And then we have The Last Battle, which I think worked well for ending the series. There were some things that like didn't like, but then also was like, oh, if you've read the whole series, it does make sense. There were some cool parallels, but it wasn't my favorite by any means. So like the ones that really stuck out to me were The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, and The Voyage of the Dawn Treader were like my top 3 faves. And then I really actually enjoyed The Silver Chair more than I thought I would. But again, like there was some like The Horse and His Boy, like, man, like I just don't know what it was about. Like, and again, I did listen to that on audiobook. I went on a lot of walks and I just kind of powered through it, and I did kind of space out. I'll be honest, I spaced out. I didn't really follow it along very well, but there's just something off about it. I couldn't get into it, and like I know I tried to read it and I just couldn't get into it. Chronicles of Narnia is a really awesome series. I highly suggest like checking it out. It's more for children, so a lot of it was very telly, which is so interesting. When I was reading them, I don't remember where I heard it from, if it was on one of her videos or in a live stream or something, but like Alexa Dunn had mentioned like if we write the same way that like writers back in the early 20th century would write, we would not get published because the writing style back then was just so different. Like Agatha Christie's style, like I'm also listening to hers and been reading a lot of her works as well, and it's just like it's such a different style. Like it's so telly, and now we're like, no, show me, which there are some show me elements in the Chronicles of Narnia. I don't want to like weird you out and be like, oh, it's just telling, but there is a lot of telling, but I think it's also because it's a like more for children, so it's going to be a lot more telling than showing. I mean, like you're not going to give a 4-year-old the same kind of showing that you would give a 4th grader. Like you need to kind of tell them a story before, you know, investing in story elements, especially when you do showing. I'm going on a rant about showing, I'm sorry, but when you're writing showing, it's gonna take more word count, so it depends on the age on like how much telling versus showing you're doing, but you always want to include some level of showing in all storytelling, no matter what age. Anywho, after that rant, yes, 5 out of 5 stars, love Chronicles of Narnia, definitely should check it out. And bonus, check out the Grey Havens, they're awesome, I love them so much. Our next book that we read is, surprise, surprise, a YA thriller. So I was really excited to read this. It is How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao. And it was basically a kind of like One of Us is Lying meets Crazy Rich Asians in a way. It was a lot of fun. It was a fun read. So what is How I Fall Apart all about? It is about 4 students. There was a 5th one, but 4 of them were best friends at this super rich, posh prep school in New York City. We have Akil Patel, Crystal Cho, Alexander Lin, and Nancy Lau. And they have their own little secrets, and then they all had the same common friend, Jamie Ruan. But Jamie Ruan kind of fell from their graces and then mysteriously died. And then they have this, like, I don't even know, like, maybe, I think I'm getting too old. But, they have a social media thing in here. It's kind of based off of a Yik Yak. And I'm like, I remember when Yik Yak first came out. I'm like, do people still use Yik Yak? Kind of similar to Yik Yak, called Tip Tap. And, which, I don't know if she was kind of like merging TikTok and Yik Yak together. I thought it was like a clever way of like introducing your own social media platform. But yeah, I was just like, is like TikTok's, Yik Yak, is that still a thing? Like, I don't know, but it was kind of clever. Like, so there's an anonymous like posting site, and so people just like anonymously post about things, including this threat by this person called the Proctor, threatening to expose their secrets, especially involving the death of Jamie. And I guess, like, for me, I was expecting a lot different of an ending, but it all does make a lot of sense. Like, the mystery does follow. Like, personally, I have some questions of, like, maybe if I do a second read, it will all make a little bit more sense. But it was definitely, like, an enjoyable series. And there was, like, some romance, and then there was some romance that I wasn't rooting for. I guess, like, okay. So I really thought that this other person was going to be the mastermind, and I really think this other person should have been the mastermind. I think that's just like that's a me thing. Like, you know, I just like, oh, I really like wanted it to be this person, but I don't think that she had the heart to make it that person, or was just like, no, it needs to be this other person, and he's just kind of, and this person's just a red herring. Which works, but I was just like, no, I really wanted it to be that person. I felt like it would have rocked our main character's world a little bit more. So I was just like kind of disappointed that it wasn't that person. End of spoiler there. There's some decisions made that like I was kind of sad about, or like, oh, I wish they would have went this route or that route instead, but it was still a really good story. And like, it was very easy to read in a way of that, like, I was able to follow along pretty quickly and able to pick up on the characters. And she does some flashbacks, which was really cool to see, like, her thought process through the whole story from, like, her past point of view. It was really a really fun read. I would give this a 4 out of 5 stars. So if you're looking for some like a One of Us is Lying meets like Crazy Rich Asians, I really highly recommend this. So it was a lot of fun. I have heard some great things about her next book, so I don't know what it's called. I don't know when it's coming out, but I have heard some really great things, so I'm looking forward to picking up that book, and I'll let you guys know when that comes out in the future. Thank you guys again so much for watching and sticking in there. I know we had a bit of a unplanned hiatus in the middle of May and June, but we'll be back to our regular scheduled programming of every Thursday, new video on all things writing and reading. If you guys like this video, please make sure to give this video a nice big thumbs up. It lets me know that you like videos like this one. And if you haven't already, click subscribe. I release all new videos on all things writing and reading every Thursday. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Keep writing, keep reading, and stay creative.